the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running.
Oh, what up, everybody? As I'm packing to move, I have come to realization I have way too many amplifiers. It just, but that brought me onto something. It brought me onto the fact that a lot of people have no idea what they're doing when it comes to choosing an amplifier. So I'm like, man, I could make a quick little video about this because a lot of people, they're really misinformed. So let's just assume that a lot of you guys watch Big D Wiz. And if you don't, check out some of his videos. He does amp dyno videos. Give you an idea what an amplifier can do power-wise. And then when you're watching them, even if you can wire that amp down to 1 ohm, watch it what it does at the 4 ohm rating. I had food in my beard. But watch what it does at the 4 ohm rating. Why? Because that's where you're mostly going to be at. So for subwoofer, I say always go at least double what the sub is rated for RMS. Always double. So if you got a sub that's rated for 2000 RMS, hit it with 4K. Or at least a 3.5. Because when a subwoofer is moving, it has impedance rise, or some people call it box rise. And no, you can't glue your box down or bolt it down to fight that. It just don't work that way. It's basically because you have a copper coil on a magnetic pole. And when it moves, I'm not going to make it, but when it moves like this, you create AC energy and try to feed it back to the amp while the amp's feeding the subwoofer AC power. So that's where they fight each other. That's the impedance rise. So with that happening, you're never, if your amp does 8,000 at 1 ohm, you're never going to be at 1 ohm. You have a chance if you're wired at a quarter. You have a chance to get there. But in all my testing, playing music, man, my rise is always up above 5. Up above 5 ohms. Wired under 1 ohm. I was still, the lowest I saw was like 5 ohm. So playing music, it's going to be hard to get the full power out of your amplifier. That's why I always recommend at least double. And you know, like in my wife's vehicle, we had subs rated 2000 RMS. I had a 8K on each 1.5. And they were doing pretty good, you know. So with that being said, yeah, at least double rated. On mids and highs, I just try to jump somewhere above what the amps or the speaker is rated for, like at the RMS. You know, I like to be between the RMS and the max. That's kind of the playing field I like to be in on my mids and highs. But for subwoofer, definitely double it up. Triple it up even. You know, an amplifier and wattage can go a long way on a subwoofer if you're set clean. You know, you don't want to like be charged, like if your system runs 14 volt, you know, 14 volts where you charge. You don't want your battery topped off at 14.4 and go back there and unhook the subs and set the gains clean at volume 40 and then demo at volume 40. It don't work that way, because if you're going to put any strain on that electrical and you're going to drop down to like 13.7, 13.5, now you're clipping. So, you know, you got to leave a click or two on that volume for headway. But choosing the right amplifier, guys, on subwoofer, go way more than rated. At least double. And do some research on impedance rise and how it works. Because like I said, if you watch Big D Wiz's videos, that 4 ohm rating is kind of what you want to pay attention to. I know what somebody back there is going to be saying too, like, well, if the amp's doing, you know, like 14K dynamic, you're never going to be at dynamic. It don't matter. Dynamic, I mean, that is a decent rating to look at, because that's just kind of showing how quick the amp can do burst on power, recharge the caps, and do it again. And a lot of the amplifiers didn't have like good, solid ratings across the board like Rockford Fosgate, the old amps from like the 90s. Like those amps, they wasn't super powerful, you know. I mean, they were, but they wasn't. They were underrated, definitely. Because if you take like a Punch 150, I think them amps ran at like 2 ohm bridged or whatever. So at like 2 ohm bridged, a Punch 150 might be rated at 150 watt, but it might do 300, you know. And that was great because they were underrating them. But dynamically, those amps could do like 400 watts or more. They had great dynamic power, which is what really pushed Rockford Fosgate to the top back in the day, you know. But, so somebody's going to be like, oh, well, this amp puts out like 14K dynamic. It still don't matter because they're hitting dynamic at a set ohm, loaded ohm, which means all the amp seeing is that ohm load, like 1 ohm. When you're playing power or music, that all goes out the window. That's why the 4 ohm rating is so important. Because at least then you know, like, hey, if I have like 3 times rise playing music, this is around about what I'm going to get power-wise. And it does help, you know. It does help to have amplifiers with big power. That way you know you're taking full potential of your sub, because if your sub's rated for 1,000 watt, you put a 3K on it or whatever, or 4K, you know you're going to be getting a decently close to that number playing music. Burping is way different because, you know, you should have the highest rise at your peak. So you can definitely overpower the crap out of something there and it's such a short burst that, you know, if a sub's rated for, well, remember what we did in that car. You know, I got a 5K on subs that are rated for 750 RMS. And they were eating all of it because we were burping at the peak, which is the most efficient with the highest rise. And it was a short period of time for the burp. So we wasn't clamping a crap ton of power, you know, as to where I believe the peak was 45. If we had been burping like 30, then it would have clamped a whole lot more power, which we didn't clamp it that day, but that's giving you an idea. So definitely, guys, when you buy subs, just buy the biggest amp you can afford to put on them. And then go on here. Yeah, you can go right here and just do a bunch of research on impedance rise and how it works. And that's kind of how I learned all this. And I learned a lot the day that I was clamping Jangalang, burping away from my peak, because I got 14,700 watts out of one of my 8Ks, burping way off from my peak. Because at my peak, I think I got a little over 7,000. But you gotta remember, I was wired low. So short burp, got huge power burping away from my peak. I think I was only right, when I got the 14.7, I was rising to like right at 1 ohm. But when I went in and played music, clamping the same amplifier, a song that I demo all the time at my demo volume, I think the most saw was 3K. So to kind of give you an idea of how music affects everything. Because my ohm load, I mean, it was going up to like 24 ohm, which is insane. But anyway, just wanted to do a quick video. Just because, like I said, I saw that I had way too many amplifiers, and I'm like, man, I need to do an amp video, because all day long I'm trying to explain to people on the phone why I'm recommending like a 2,000 watt amplifier for 2 750 watt rated subs, you know. I'm like, oh, it's way too much power. I'm just letting y'all know it don't really work that way. It does, but it don't. Rule of thumb is to try to match up the wattages, but in reality, with impedance rise on subwoofers, 2 times RMS rated power is kind of where you at least want to be. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Peace out, and as always, bass on, and hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll be doing these videos in the Midwest. See you guys.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no